Hello, this is Anthony with Land Title. I came to bring you your first to know update for Boulder County. So let's dive right into this as we wrap up the year. Interesting stuff's been happening, but kind of probably already understand some of the trends. But really, let's get kind of picky on some of this. Obviously, the average sales price year month over month has come down quite a bit, but year over year, we're still staying fairly stable. Now, there's been some realized price compression in certain parts of the market, no doubt. But so here we are at 879 across the county. Now, the median kind of shows you some of where that price compression is actually happening around the median of those price ranges that are being sold, but also largely in some of the luxury, and I'll show you why here in a second. But the single family home market, not so bad, right? Very similar to this time last year. The condo townhouse market, though, had a really awful month in December, but it could be largely due to less sales taking place. If we sell lower than our average or median, we don't sell very many. Maybe we just didn't sell any, higher end stuff, which we had been doing the last few months, brings that average and that median way down. 22% on the average, 26% on the median, but don't stress, don't panic, because that's not the norm, right? It was a clear off month. You can see, but because of the price per square foot, the condo townhouse was down 24.5% there as well. You can see that sometimes that trends that way. If you look at 2023, had similar effect. So nothing overly to stress about. The single family home market, though, minus 2.2% from the previous year, is actually slightly down below 2023 as well. It was really high there for the last few months, though. So I think stability, but it is a rocky road, right? I mean, we've had our ups and our downs over the last year or so, but the single family home market clearly outperforming the condo townhouse market by leaps and bounds. Now, if we look at our active listings on the marketplace, you can see just how much has come off the market, right? I mean, clearly when June is the peak of inventory for the year, and it's way earlier than we would normally see. I mean, if you look at the previous year in 2024, the peak of inventory was October. So as we start to see that erode a little bit, you really can tell that sellers got frustrated at the end of the year last year. What that is going to mean is going to mean lots more listings coming back on the market and new stuff coming on the market, competing with them. Another high year of inventory, another year of high listing activity from sellers. And you can already see it here in the new listings where we were slightly above, 10 units above, really about 23.5%, or I'm sorry, 13.5% more than we had in the December before. So that seller appetite is still super strong. The issue before was that we didn't have the buyers to take up some of that inventory. With interest rates being significantly lower than they were for the majority of last year, it could help that buyer activity continue. Because if you look here at the pendings, look at this. This is buyer demand. Buyer demand, we put another 15, 16% under contract more than we had a year ago. The issue is it's actually less than 2023. But it was just in December, right? So we did have a much better year as far as sales volume is concerned. We just had so much to choose from. And with those prices coming down a little bit, you had a lot more appetite from your buyers, right? So that was good news. Month supply of inventory right where it ended the year, the last 3 years in a row, 2.6 months of inventory. So expect it to come out of the gate pretty strong. Now, market activity, this is like, what does it feel like to be a buyer or seller? It took 30% longer to get a home under contract in December this year than it did the previous year. So 78 days is a long time, but that should be one of the worst of the year. Last year, January was a little worse than December, so expect that to happen again. But other than that, it's a horseshoe. So we'll race that number down to its fastest point somewhere along the summertime. And if you look at the close to list price, the close price to list price was 93%. It was 1.7% lower than it was last year at this time. It shows you just how much more power those buyers have had. Now, keep in mind the number doesn't include concessions or price drops, but we do see a lot more concessions than we saw this time last year as well. So hopefully that helps. If you have questions, concerns, need other data or information, I'm always here as a resource for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll catch you next time.